Well, when I teach folklore, we concentrate a lot on food.
They're all nice people, but some of them were a little, more fun than others.
We've had best of times that you could ever want over there. And nobody, like I say, there just wasn't any trouble.
Now you've got football, baseball, TV, travels all over the place, so kind of the neighborhood stores, they're all gone by the wayside.
I never personally have stood across the street and looked at it, but it's just a little shack. What is it that people like about it?
My dad was a very personable person, and one of his things was he treated everybody the same.
I say they're hot. Yeah? How hot? On a scale from 1 to 10, these would be... Ooh, 10 just happened.
I think that's part of the lure of the place, because we have people come in that say, well, I haven't been here in 25 years and it hasn't changed a bit, and it really hasn't.
Never had words, bad words. Just good times.
And I enjoyed his company very much, and we used to come down here and we had good friendship and good food.
We're on the sidewalk now.
Documentary is.
Good question.
Porubskys, whatever.
This story began 300 years ago. My ancestors fled Germany to Russia in hopes of finding a better life. Eventually, life turned out to be just as bad. In Russia, they had become persecuted for their beliefs and forced into a life of hunger and squalor. They decided to find another new home. Their next journey to find a better life was a bit more epic than their last, but they persevered. They left Russia for America, and there they found Kansas. Kansas can be easily overlooked, but it is a beautiful place I have been happy to call my home. The capital of Kansas is Topeka, and my ancestors settled there in another easily overlooked place, the neighborhood of Little Russia. That's where you find Porubskys. 65 years ago, Charlie Porubsky started a business with his mother, Katie. Over the years, the whole family has helped to run the place, especially Charlie's wife, Lydia, and his son, Charlie Jr. I'm Charlie's grandson, Matthew Porubsky. Porubsky's is famous for two things. It's hot pickles and it's chili. I've never really understood why people love Porubskys. Folks travel from all over the place to this little dive for such simple food. So I started asking questions. I found that it all started in the neighborhood my ancestors settled, Little Russia.
Some Volga Germans came directly to work here in Topeka for the Santa Fe Railroad. Most of them were blue-collar workers. They worked in the shops. They worked as engineers. They built the steam engines, the locomotives. They built the box cars, the passenger cars.
And that's where all the people, German and Russian heritage, would just settle in that one area of town because it was close to work, close to the Santa Fe shops.
The Santa Fe also followed the line of the river, so it was geographically it was the place to be.
And they were all good, hard-working people. Most of them came from Kaminga, Russia. Some of them even swept their dirt yards to keep things clean.
All the old customs and everything, there were still a few families still try to keep them alive, like Venching on New Year's. Families will get together and come in and wish everybody a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year in German. No, I've got it written down, but I could tell you part of it. Ich wünsche euch glücklich, seliges Neujahr, Langsleves Gesundheit, Frieden am Einigkeit. That's all I could tell you right now. After World War II, it was about all gone. They didn't encourage you to speak German in World War II anyway, so.
We was an ornery bunch of kids, but it was all kept down in that 3 blocks. As far as the police, there was never no police call there. Them old Germans took care of itself. They got the razor strap ready, and they knew how to use it.
And of course, along with that came a lot of small businesses that served the community in that vicinity. Businesses like little groceries, little dry goods stores, even little eateries.
My grandpa Caberline, he originally built the store. And then once right after he got it built, he sold it to a man by the name of Pete Melchior. Pete Melchior didn't have it for just a very short period of time. And that's when my grandma and my dad bought it in 1947.
I can't remember whether it was a little rounded or just straight, but it was just a small bar. And you could get a glass of beer or whatever. Yeah, because a lot of the ladies would get a glass of beer while they were doing their little shopping, you know.
People had the feeling they're getting away over into no man's land. They constantly remark about, well, this is a strange place to have a restaurant, but it sure is nice and quiet down here.
When you think about Porubsky's starting around 1945, post-war America, you see both the return to normalcy, that there's big emphasis on that, and you also see these dramatic changes, the beginnings of the Levitt towns, the suburbians, the planned communities, sidewalks disappear, cars become the king, drive-in movies, drive-in restaurants.
He had enough young kids coming from service that could keep that joint or tavern, whatever you want to call it, constantly a-gone.
After I was married and we had small kids, and all of the other people my age would go over on Friday night after a week's work and enjoy a beer, and our children would be with us. They'd play outside and we'd have the beer and the pop and all the gossip and talk on the inside. And our bunch called it kindergarten night.
In the evening, the store didn't close at 5 or 6. Charles would sit down there till midnight, and all the folks in the neighborhood come in and drink beer and play cards and play the jukebox. That was the flavor of the place. That was the neighborhood hangout.
We didn't have a whole lot of room. There were a few little booths. So they would just have the beer cases there, and everybody would sit on a beer case, or they'd stand around the bar, or whatever, wherever you found a place.
And if you wanted a seat, you had to get there a lot of time before 10 o'clock. And some diehards were still sitting there at 10 o'clock at night because all they had to do is walk. Some of them 2 or 3 houses and they was home. They didn't have to worry about drinking and driving because most of them didn't have a car anyway. That's the way our life was. It wasn't quite as fast as it is today.
Anytime I've been in there, I don't feel like I'm an interloper. I've never known anybody who went in there who said I didn't feel like I belonged in there. And that's a human thing. That's just the kind of people who are running.
Dutch would drink too much, and he'd bring his gun in. I don't know if it was ever loaded or not. Probably not. And he would just twirl it around, you know. And Charles always took the gun away, and he says, you can have it when you're sober.
Well, let's guesstimate about 35 years ago, I suppose. Johnny Burkhardt kind of introduced me to the place. Says on Saturdays we usually go down to Porubsky's. I said, well, I can't go down to Porubsky's. I thought this was one of those areas where only the people that grew up there could go. So one Saturday I did. I walked through the front door and everything got real quiet and everybody in the place just turned and looked at the front door and I says, uh-oh, this can't be good. And all of a sudden Johnny yells out from the back, says, Johnny! And so everybody seemed to say, okay, well, he knows him, so I guess he can come in then. And that's where I spent the rest of the day.
They started shortly after 12 o'clock Saturday and sang probably at about 3. All German songs, all the way through. And if you wanted to get in trouble, tell them jokers, play me an English one, will you? Will you sing one of them? And boy, you're going to get riled up.
Yeah, Hazel used to, on a wedding, she and her husband would be the first ones to lead the parade
march,
or
yeah.
wedding march.
You're ready for me to sing?
Yeah, we're ready for the song.
Oh, dear.
Well,
and their favorite song was Heaven There Was No Beer, and she won't sing it anymore, though. I don't know why. She won't. We try to get her to do it.
Don't look at me.
Okay. We won't look at you.
In heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here.
And when we're gone from here, all our friends will be drinking all the beer. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
We were notified to get out of all of this area. We had about 1.5 foot of water all through Oakland area. It flooded the shops and all the railroad cars and stuff like that.
It was just rain. You couldn't get your clothes dried. You'd have to hang in the basement, but that was also damp and, you know. So then when they told us to get out, why, we did. And we didn't hardly take anything with us.
The thing that really caused the 51 flood, the devastation, was when there was a cloudburst. Over 11 inches of rain overnight, and all of that dumped into high water already, and it just brought everything up in a hurry.
So when flood came, why, we went over there and, well, everything was going out of the house. I mean, everything. It just took everything out. Charles is, you know, that big heavy ice box he had, that was clear down a couple of blocks away. Now, something to take a force like that, you know, it's going to take a lot of things away.
We had trucks trying to go out and sandbag around the water plant and things like that, but it was a lost cause and everything got pretty well flooded up. Charlie's store really had the brunt of the flood down there in Russian Corner.
Well, the flood washed the window, but when it did, it just washed the window right on out. I don't know where the window ended up at. It's gone. It took the front and it took part of the back out. All the shelvings and everything else like that, all of that was just dispersed all over the grounds.
I know it was over the top of the whole building. My mom said she never worked so hard in her life and never do it again. People from South Topeka and stuff come over and drove by and laughed at them out there working so hard.
Well, you know, you just got in, you had to clean up, and you waded through mud and tried to salvage what you could. It was just hard work. Here we thought we were doing good. We'd have, we saved a little bit. And they said, well, you can just start from the bottom. So that's what we had to do.
They couldn't start again. And that's what the impact was on the 51 flood. So banks that used to be over there couldn't reopen. The stores that had been there had to move or find other locations or just went out of business.
I come back over here after the 51 flood and walk back down to the same place, mud everywhere, and here's some ants coming up out of the ground. After several days of 1.5 foot water over them, and here's some ants surviving, coming back up out of the ground, and it was amazing. It's surviving.
When we had the fire down there, that was in 66, 67.
Yeah, I remember that night down at the house, we got the phone call and the store was on fire, and Dad got dressed and left real quick, and then it started in the front. It started in like a refrigeration box, a freezer and stuff like that.
Back then they didn't have no cans of pop. All the pop was in 16-ounce returnable bottles. And I remember Dad and Grandma used to get madder than hell at us because we'd go in the store and we'd roll them bottles on the floor and they'd only go a couple of feet and they'd blow up from being in the fire. And that would make both of them madder than hell. Then the next thing I knew, we was here at the house. We went down there and helped start getting the stuff cleaned up and scrubbing down there.
But it was unbelievable, all the people that helped. I mean, every one of the retailers that Dad would sell, like Nabisco crackers and the meat companies and everybody, I mean, all of their wholesale people and their salesmen came down and worked, and it was remarkable.
It did quite a bit of damage, but at those days too, we were a popular place, and the neighborhood people just come over and started helping and everything, and it wasn't more than a couple weeks, and Dad was back open and up and running. Everybody just came and helped out and did it all.
Well, it's just developed into a really traditional place because of the backbone and the foundation of it, the family.
Grandma Katie was ahead of her time. She was, she started wearing slacks before a lot of women started wearing slacks. And, Grandma Katie was driving, which a lot of women didn't drive. And so she was a pretty independent woman.
It gave kind of a stern appearance, very handsome woman for her age, but just a heart of gold, loved a good story, loved to tease. It's not hard to see that Charles' apple didn't fall far from her tree.
Grandma Katie at home was a little different than Mom. She didn't really have too much to say a lot of the time. She would stay down the store. Dad would come home and eat from 6 until 7. When he would go back to the store at 7, then Grandma Katie would come home.
She kind of was the watchdog over us kids. So it's not only like you were going to get in trouble with your mom and dad if you were late, but Grandma would also know if you were late.
Oh, she kept an eye on you. Anytime, wherever you went or whatever, she knew where you was at all the time, what you was doing, and she just looked for, when you get done with this job, then we'll do this job. When you get done with this, we'll do this. And she would get right in there and work with you. It wasn't she just wanted to tell you what to do or whatever, because she wasn't afraid of work, never. She was down the store working until she was up in her 80s every day, 6 days a week.
Katie was the financier, I think, for lack of a better word. She kind of handled the money part of it, and Charles handled the hands-on part of it. He was very close and very attached to his mom. I think felt apprehensive about, can me and my wife really do this now without her being here?
Liddy, well, I tell you, I wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't know where to stop.
She said years ago, I don't know why Them two would go down the store all the time and just work. And that was Dad and Grandma. Well, then when Mom got older, that's all she wanted to do too. Was come on, we got to hurry up and get down there. We got to get these orders up. We got to get the chili going. We got to get this here done. We got these here people coming today. And as Mom got older, then she was the same way as the other two.
Liddy just a big old teddy bear, and that'd make her mad when I tell her that, and then she'd just go in the other room. But he thinks he knows all about me.
Lydia took a little bit more getting to know. But once I got to know Lydia, you know, it got past the cranky, what do you want? She was a very warm-hearted person.
Oh, she hated for people to come in and say, give me some mayonnaise.
It's not mayo, it's salad dressing.
Lydia was a little different person, and you didn't fool around with her too much.
One time a guy came in when my dad was sick and he was going to worked across the street. He didn't pay his bill, and my dad asked the guy, one of the foremen's over there, to send him over to pay his bill, and he come over and he was threatening my dad, and my dad was sick at the time. My mom was always pretty strong. She grabbed the little guy and threw him through the screen door.
Gosh, for 20 years I didn't know my name was Bruce because I thought it was what she called me. And,
You can say it. We'll just go ahead and edit it out. But what was it?
asshole.
Dad, see, he wasn't home a lot. Dad went to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. Dad come home at 6 o'clock to eat supper. He went back to work at 7 o'clock. So a lot of nights when we was going to school and stuff, he didn't get home till 10:30, 11:30, 12 o'clock at night when he closed the store, so we'd already be in bed.
He would stay there and keep the place open as long as the customers were there. He said, I'd be home anyway. He said, I just will sit down here and listen to it. So,
I mean, we could go anywhere and he knew somebody. If we would go to the airport in Kansas City to go somewhere or something, he'd run into someone he knew.
One time the lady came in and she wanted a whole chicken.
Well, he goes in and he's got one chicken left. And it was kind of a scrawny little thing. He brought it out on a piece of butcher paper and showed it to her. Oh, no, that's way too small. I need a bigger one. I'll be right back. So he goes back in the store, and he laid the chicken down on the butcher block and put his rubber gloves on and smashed it down and literally spread it out.
So the lady says, well, it said, I wanted a little bit bigger one. She says, as a matter of fact, I'll take both of them. Charlie says, well, I'm sorry, I can't sell you both of them. He says, I dropped the other one on the floor, and he said, I'm not going to sell it.
Everybody fell on the floor when she left and told him what a con artist he was. And he just smiled and was real proud of himself.
Charlie never wrote anything down. If you ordered a chili, a cold plate, and a drink, when you went up to pay, he said, what'd you have? He remembered what you had. If you said, well, I just had a Coke and this, he'd know what you had, but he just said, and that's it. He didn't write nothing down. It was just an honor system. And I can remember someone saying one time, well, you know, if you screw Charlie Porubsky, he says, you ain't no good.
Yeah, my dad knew most all the politicians in town or around the state as far as that goes. I don't know him nothing like he did. Well, Dad knew them all. And he got along, Dad got along with everybody, so he had the right line to talk to them, and that's what they wanted to hear, so they got along good. His best buddy was Governor Docking. He planned his election campaign and stuff sitting at the back table out in the tavern. So him and Dad were good friends all the time. He was governor. He came over quite often to see Dad.
And this guy here was...
That was me.
That was... I understand.
I'll tell you, can you believe that?
Yeah.
Charlie and Mark.
My goodness, yeah. Okay. That's my son right here, right?
Can you read that?
The best wishes to special friends who have helped me since my days in the Kansas house, yeah. Yep, that's for sure. This must have been like 1986 or so. Yeah, listen, I have such incredible memories of Charlie and Lydia. Yeah. When this part of Topeka was added into my legislative district, I mean, I used to just live over here. I was here once a week having lunch. You know, and when I ever came out and talked to Charlie and Lydia, I mean, I always felt like that I was really just talking to a pollster in North Topeka.
But there's other ones still come by. Congressman Jerry Moran, he comes by whenever he gets in town.
And you know, Governor Sebelius has been there. The walls are just covered with photos of governors who've been there. George Brett's photo is up there. And I think just the word gets around.
Well, I think it was just that people felt like this is where real folks in Topeka hung out, you know, and if you really wanted to keep sort of your finger on the pulse of Topeka, this was a place to come. And also, people really loved Charlie and Lydia, you know. I mean, they just liked to come here. And it just became this incredible, you know, place where people could come and hang out and get to, you know their neighbors. So.
In some ways, that initiation and that pilgrimage factor that keeps the place kind of symbolic somehow. If you're going to go to Topeka and you're going to visit your legislator or something, maybe you'll get to go to Porubsky's.
And so, you remember your grandma making chili?
Yes.
What do you remember?
She had chili from her neck to her knees when she got done. Her apron was completely covered with chili. Well, the story goes that when they were building the Sardu Bridge, they had hot dogs for the construction workers. She decided to make some chili one day, and it kind of caught on, and then the hot dogs kind of went away, and it was just all chili.
In fact, Lydia used to always tell me the story. I never witnessed it, that it started out bean soup way back in the old days.
Charles and I used to mess with making chili. He'd try it one time and I'd try it one time. I never cooked anyway. And one time we even put dill pickles in it. We would just, whatever. We always ate it though.
There was some guy who used to come over here from the gas company. One day she made chili for her and Dad here at dinner time. And an old gentleman by the name of George Wells was his name. He just happened to be here at noontime, and my grandma fixed him up with a bowl of chili, and he said it was so good you ought to start making it and selling it during noon hour.
Everybody at the Capital Journal, it was really popular in 1986 when I started there as a reporter, to go to Porubsky's and to eat the hot chili and the sandwiches. And so I went with my reporter friends on my first day. I asked Lydia, I ordered a bowl of chili. And she said, well, you're going to have to come back on a Monday because we don't serve chili on Fridays.
Once again, you get told on Saturdays and Fridays there's no chili.
A guy asked me, how come you don't have any chili on Friday? Well, we called the Pope and asked him, and the Pope said, no way. He wouldn't allow it.
And then when Grandma got up in age, and then when she started bugging out once in a while or being under the weather or sick or whatever, I'd make it while she wasn't there, and then eventually I just started making it all the time.
Probably makes about 35 gallons a day, sometimes more. He just works it from the basement up, and then when that gets empty, he'll start some more hamburger cooking, and he's cooking chili while he's serving it at the same time. That's why it always smells like chili in there.
It's really rich, and it's not hot, but it's heavily seasoned, you know what I mean?
One individual down there in Florida, he would call Charles and Liddy, Katie, said, I want to get my 30 gallons of chili, and they fly up from Florida to get 30 gallons of chili on the airplane, and they turn around and fly back. That chili is good.
I mean, I do the same thing that I've been doing for years and years and years, so it's the same routine I got. Nothing's measured whatsoever. So I just watched her do it so many times, and I started doing it. And then when she finally did leave the store, then Dad was out in the beer joint. Mom was working up front taking money, so somebody had to make the chili, so I got that job all the time.
not special because of what it is, it's special because of the tradition behind it. Because no one else could make it in that same way. It's the tradition bearer thing. Only Porubskys can make Porubsky's chili. And that's what makes it so good.
Sure. October 1st, chili on.
All right, we're here at Bailey's house. We're gonna take her on a little trip to Porubsky's and have the chili for the first time, and we've got a little surprise for her as we go in there. So here we go. So you've never had the chili before?
I have not had the chili.
So you can
I've
have
heard
some-
about the chili.
We have a little bit of a surprise. We wanted to get kind of a different point of view, a different perspective of it, and we kind of brought a blindfold for you to wear on the way there, and kind of going in there, so you can kind of give us a different point of view. Go from there. Does that
All right.
sound good?
Yeah, I was blindfolded once before on my way to my bachelorette party.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a little differently.
Yeah.
Okay, there's stairs. Should I blindfold myself after I get in the car?
We'll take care of everything.
I'm a little nervous.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Wow, it smells good.
Got about 30 steps. We're gonna a tight little aisle here.
Hi there, Chip.
I'm gonna show you where
Is that the squeak of styrofoam?
Yeah, this is all styrofoam here.
Oh, good. I'm gonna try this chili and try not to burn myself or spill it on myself. Oh, I'm kind of embarrassed, guys.
It'll be well worth it.
Okay,
well
I'm
worth
really
it.
embarrassed now.
Well worth it. Almost there. You were
I
so
can't
close.
blow out candles with everybody watching. Okay. Wow, that was really good chili.
Why? Why is it
There's
good?
some meat, there's some beans. It's got like a sweetness. It's not too hot, but it's got like just the right amount of spice. It was kind of burning my throat a little bit now. It tastes good. Can I have another bite? Yeah, that's really, really good chili. That might be the best chili I've had. Don't tell my brother. Yeah, that's really good. Do you have any more
All right.
questions while I'm
No,
blindfolded?
go ahead. You can take the blindfold off and check everything
Oh,
out.
wow.
Get your glasses.
It looks like school chili, like it wouldn't be very good. You know, it doesn't have any vegetables in it, except for the beans. Are beans a vegetable?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I waited so long because it's really good. And today is the last day. I have to wait until next winter to have more chili.
We can send some home with you.
Okay.
There you go.
But what about like next week when I want more chili?
A lot of hobos came off the trains. Mom and Dad always made them sandwiches and gave them fruit and a drink and stuff. They, always helped anybody that needed something. A lot of people didn't have a lot of money, and they would let them charge stuff on just a tab or whatever, and they'd keep track of it, and then the people would pay them when they got the money.
Somebody pass away or something, she was always right there with her platters. Say, well, we need to fix up a platter for such and such's family,
Someone broke in the back bedroom. And when they heard that, what did they do? Here they come. This is how they were. Brought me a great big platter of meat and cheese tray, and they felt so bad that happened.
Do you remember Rob Fisher?
Rob,
Did you know Fisher?
Oh, Fisher. Oh, yeah. The Black Russian.
He always called himself the Black Russian, because that was Russia Corner, and that's what he called himself. He was just really nice. Everybody liked him, and he always swept up around the store, and Charles gave him things and saw that they had enough to eat. And Charles always helped him a lot because they didn't have any money, and they lived over there on Jefferson Street. And so he didn't have a pension or anything, and he was in the service. But Charles got him all straightened out and got him a little pension. Even when this man died, Charles always saw that his wife, got help and did for her also till she died.
Uncle Charlie and Grandma and Grandpa treat everybody the same, whether it's someone who came in off the street who hasn't had a meal for a day and Uncle Charlie helps them out, or if it's a senator that comes in and Uncle Charlie makes his sandwich the exact same way that he makes everybody else's. I mean, it's a really level playing field here.
They were, for me as a kid, part of Little Russia. We say Russia, you know, and it's the closest to, you know, as a pastor, I think of those words of the Lord. He said, I was a stranger and you welcomed me. And I think Charles and Lydia did that in their own personal life. Anybody that came in this store, you were never a stranger. We miss them dearly, but I see them in their children and their grandchildren.
Well, there were 6 of us. I was the 4th girl of 4 girls in a row, so I'm sure they were tired of girls by the time I got there. I shouldn't say that. I never felt slighted. And my little brother, Jimmy, was just a little over a year younger than me, and he and I were very close. We did, you know, we probably played together more and played outdoor and boy stuff than girl stuff. I was never a doll player.
Mom and Helen Hawkins, which was Teresa's mother, were real good friends. And like I say, you know, everybody lived at home then, and you know, there was the alley behind, so you know, we would go back and forth down the alley, and it was just 3 houses down they lived. So we spent a lot of time back and forth playing with the kids.
The mother and kids went someplace, and when they got home, I think it was later, and they went upstairs to go to bed, and I think Teresa's dad was still downstairs. Anyway, the fire started and he got out and all the ones upstairs perished.
I was in Kansas City with my sister Kathy. She was moving down there that same night. Well, like, what was it, about 3 in the morning, you know, the police came and knocked on the door and told us what had happened. I remember just, you know, like, you think you're having a bad dream and it's not, and it doesn't go away. And what I remember mostly is, how come I'm still here? And still sometimes that bugs me more. Why am I still here?
I can remember them bringing some of them people out of the house after it happened. And then after the services and everything, Teresa come here and wanted to stay here with Mom and Sis and the family here for a while.
Why, my aunt and uncle had found a little house for me and my dad to rent right before we were supposed to move in. You know, people were giving us odds and ends of furniture and stuff, and it was looking like it was going to work out pretty good. And my dad had a total nervous breakdown and ended up in the hospital. And so I just kept staying with Grandma Lydia.
They just took her in, and that was their child. They got custody of her, and from then on, she was what all their kids got, Teresa got too. She took Teresa up and got her all new clothes for school. And she said that's the first time she ever had a new dress.
She was here so long, she would just become part of the family. You know, that's just the way it is. And she was here after so long, she got to be, and you know, hey, she was just like a regular sister to me.
And I could not ever do enough to thank her and Charles. So, beautiful.
It was a tragedy all the way around, but at least Teresa got a good home and got parents who loved her and took care of her. And I think that says a lot for Charles and Lydia.
Holy cow, oh my gosh. Really hot.
Yep, they still take your breath away. But,
woo!
Wow.
Why? Hot.
That's bloody hot, that is.
I think that's one of the fun things Charlie like to do is watching people with the hot pickles.
Are you chewing gum and eating a pickle at the same time? Does that make it better, or?
We used to do a little experimenting ourselves.
Had lunch with them.
Making hot pickles at home, you know. The way he come up here is altogether different.
I'm gonna swallow. I'm gonna swallow.
I don't know what you want me to say. This is bad.
The pickles are unusual. Sometimes they're really mild. You can barely taste any hotness, and sometimes they're just like, whoa!
Oh, that one hit you.
Clears your sinuses, I'll tell you.
No.
Whoa! Really nice sweetness when you first stick it in your mouth.
Uh-huh.
And then the flame kicks in.
Yeah.
It's the flame that kills you.
What was that second part where you started coughing? What's that all about?
That's when the pickle tried to climb out through my nose. But I sucked it back in.
Say pickles were a play. What genre of play would they be?
This is definitely a hot romantic comedy.
What would you really compare this to? Deep down, like a good comparison to what Porubsky's Pickles is like.
I could say hot, dirty Friday night sex, but that might be a little dirty.
Well, that's okay. If that's the truth. What's so hot about it?
Oh!
He's in there. You're taking a big one. Just take a bite of it.
That's hot.
That's impressive. You okay? You're doing pretty good, man. I've seen grown men with tattoos and their hats on backwards spit those out.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Too hot?
What the? Whoa!
No, you can. If you need to spit it out, man. It doesn't matter.
Damn!
But
damn!
They've been around for like 60 years. We've been making these pickles. Do you condone that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I think if you're into that.
Is this the hottest?
You wasn't good. You wasn't good.
Yeah, they are the hot ones. Yes.
Woohoo! Pretty hot.
Oh man, these are hot. Wow.
Oh yeah, spicy pickle. That's got horseradish. That's real hot.
Everybody wanted to know where he was at. That's just it. Some of us, I could not be there or whatever, and you know that's just part of it. But when Dad wasn't there, everybody come in and wanted to know, hey, where's Charlie at? He worked out in the beer joint side. What's the matter with Charlie? Why ain't he here today? Why ain't he here today? Then when he got better, he went to work back down there for a while, and he worked inside up front and took money. Well, then that even got too much for him. Well, then everybody come in the store. Where's Charlie at today? We always see him sitting up here in the window. He's always sitting up here in the window looking out. Where's Charlie at? Where's Charlie at? And everybody missed him.
And then, do you remember that night in Grandma Katie's room when he passed away?
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
What was that like? All your brothers and sisters were there, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep. He kept getting weaker and weaker. That day he kind of went out a little bit. And he just kept saying his only wish he wanted to pass away at home. So he laid right over there in that room. And it was 8:30 at night, somewhere around in there. He just took one deep breath and that was it. And that was July 29th. Last July 29th, it was 11 years ago.
It was a little more quiet, and of course, some of the words came out of the mouth that, okay, if Charles was here, he wouldn't like that, or Liddy, what would Charles say about that? There was a lot of that going on. Well, Charles would probably do it this way or something, and maybe Liddy would even say, well, I'm in charge now, or she'd express her opinion. She says, yeah, he's not here to make a ruling on that, and this is my idea. And that was, too, that when Charles passed away and Liddy was really kind of doubled up on the work. On Fridays then, she'd go over and sit down and start nodding off, and so when people came in, I'd kind of just start being the Friday bartender, so to speak, and take care of things while she was getting her rest until she caught up a little bit. She started failing some. You could kind of tell it in her mind, and I think too that was probably part of why she was dozing off so much, but she would never let on that she was as sickly as she was.
She told me a couple of times, hey Charlie, I don't feel all that good. If people just knew how good I didn't feel, but we got to keep working. She was trying to help me take the Christmas tree down. She says, I got to go lay down. My back's killing me. She said, I'll lay down for a while, then I'll get back up and help you take the tree down. And then when she got back up, I had the tree down. She was crying because she couldn't help me take the tree down. And she said, well, you probably don't have to worry about it because the last year I'll be here with the tree.
I always wondered after Charles died, what is she coming down here 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for? Because it didn't take a genius to figure that out. She would drive herself stark raving mad sitting at home watching the soap operas. She and Charles were married and that store opened, and that's her life.
Sorry to see them have to go. They should be around forever to take care of all of us people as we're just passing through the world.
Oh, I think it's just be another sense of defeat, or of change, that nothing's going to stay the same.
It served its day. It was here. People can't making a living anymore on a small business like this. I don't think.
It's getting harder and harder all the time. There's more regulations on this and more tax on this, and you got to do this just right, and you got to do this just right, and the little man just don't get the breaks that the bigger companies do, and it's just all wiping them all out.
Have you thought about taking the responsibility in any ways? I mean, do you feel like you need to? Like it's something that, like you said, it's a Porubsky thing to keep it going. Do you feel like you need to, kind of?
When I was younger, I thought about it a lot. And I talked to Dad about it one time, and Dad said not to, because he knew the sort of hours that his father worked his whole life.
They both work too hard. A family business is a lot of work, and they were always tired when they came home. But I mean, even on weekends, there's always a cooler to clean or something to do, or they couldn't even have one day off.
You can just think of, go back 10 years, and you can probably count 30 or 40 people that used to come down here that are gone now.
Yeah, there's a lot of the old people now. They've scattered and lived out away from the area, which is progress, I guess.
Like I say, I'm gonna keep going as long as my health holds out, and from there on, hey, there's been rumors going around for the last 20-some years that, hey, this is the last year for Porubsky's. And they call me on the phone, and I just tell the people on the phone, well, I guess I'm the last one to find out.
And then, as I say, all things have to come to an end. Maybe somebody would take it, maybe they wouldn't, and I would hope they would, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, the one thing I think's lasting is we try to treat all the customers the same. You know, if you make somebody happy when they come in with the food and the service they get, they will be back. And that's what Dad always pushed, you know. Get the people in, get them set down, get them waited on fast, get their food to them, or get them waited on there at the meat counter or whatever. You treat people nice, they'll always be back because they want to be treated the same.
Porubsky's has become much more than a building and the family that operates it. It's an experience that transcends time and place and appeals to every person's craving for something familiar, something simple. It taps into a certain sentiment inside all of us that invites every person that walks through its doors to become one of the family. Porubsky's will always survive, in all of us.
Oh, people come in all the time and talk about the documentary, the store, if things have changed or what's gone on and everything. The hours have changed a lot. We don't put in near the long hours that Mom and Dad used to put in and stuff.
Working with my brother and sister, that's the only way I did. A lot of people don't get along working with their family, but hey, after working with Grandma, Mom, Dad, you know, everybody else, working with my brother and sister every day, it's fun. We have something different. There ain't no 2 days alike. And we make sure of that. Yeah, it just depends. If I got big orders going out, I get there early in the morning. I usually get there by about 7 or so. And sometimes when it gets around Christmas time, we get the orders back, a lot of orders going out that day or whatever. I don't like making them the day before. I like making them early that morning, so there's some mornings I get down there before 5.
Well, I generally show up anywhere from 10:15 to 10:30. Charlie has the chili all ready to go, and then I get onions ready to go, and make sure I got bowls and plates and cheese and everything I need to use for the chili, and then we start serving it. Someone will come in about 10:35 or 10:40. We go from there.
I usually show up at the store around 10 or 10:15.
Yeah, you need one?
I work running the register 90% of the time, but when they get backlogged doing food, then I'll go back and help carry food out or whatever needed.
Appreciate it, buddy. Hey, take care. Good to see you. Yeah, you too.
And we both leave by 2:15 or 2:30 every day.
How's it going?
Got 4 quarts of chili, dude. One of the best kept secrets in Topeka.
I know.
People don't even realize it.
Oh my God. I decided to come down and get some to go, and I'll stick it in the freezer for the winter.
Right?
And then I've been telling her about this place, so I brought her too.
You've never been here before?
I've never been here before.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're from Kansas City.
Right, you had the hot pickles for the first time too.
Yeah, they were amazing. They were hot, but I like really hot.
My go-to sandwich is an old-fashioned loaf and hot cheese. Not all the time, sometimes bologna. The good stuff is the ham and turkey and stuff like that, but that's what I have at home. So I go with something that's more unusual, and it's the spot.
I'm pretty attached to hard salami and hot cheese. That's my favorite. Macaroni and cheese loaf. I like that one sometimes with crackers, so. Or I'm kind of like a monkey see, monkey do some days too.
White wheat. Has to go?
I like salami, maybe hot cheese, you know, half sandwich. Well, I'll have a half bowl of chili once in a while too.
Chili's good too.
Well, the rule is you have to eat there to get your picture up on the wall, so.
Let me grab the Bud Lights.
Charlie changes the pictures out from time to time, and you know, we've added, you know, the new governor, Governor Kelly, her picture's up there, you know. We've got senators up there.
Senator Moran's in their ham salad on white, 2 or 3 slices of Kojak cheese on the side with crackers. He always gets the same thing. He's never ate anything besides ham salad.
Caught you. Hello there. How are you? Good to see you. You too. Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Good. We had to get here before the greedy people did, but they beat us to it.
Well, you know those revenue guys.
I know.
What's so great about coming down?
Coming down here is coming home. Been part of this neighborhood for 66 years almost now. So Porubsky's is sort of the foundation for the neighborhood, has been for my entire life. Currently, I'm serving in the governor's cabinet as Secretary of Revenue.
Is that as fun as heating the fireplace?
It's there's plenty of heat where I'm at. Everybody knows everybody, and you can't beat it from a family atmosphere.
We have Ralph. He just passed away a few months. But before he passed away, he wanted his picture up on the wall. Ralph was a dispatcher for the Yellow Cab, but he got his picture up on the wall. Betty, she's a retired school teacher. She taught for 50 years, and her picture's on the wall. So it's not just all politicians, it's a lot of good people. If you bring your picture over, I'll put it, well, your picture is up on the wall. I think yours is with, when you were with Kathleen Sebelius as governor, isn't it? Yeah, your picture was up there. So see, you made it to the wall. So you're on the wall of fame too, see?
The future is still uncertain. It's the same as it was 10 years ago, but sooner or later, it's time to start thinking about taking it easy instead of working until the day you fall over. It's getting to the point where the slowness is all catching up with me, and I just can't go like I used to.
Yeah, I think Mom and Dad would both be very proud. Nobody thought that it would last this long. 10 years ago when the documentary was made, Charlie had his first heart attack. Things were pretty gloom at that time, and he's still there every day.
This has been Charlie's livelihood since he's been about 14 years old.
Even if he would retire, that I think he should sell hot pickles at the farmer's market or something to keep him a little bit busy. When he's done, he'll probably say, I'm done.
I hope it's a family decision, but I think we're all getting older. I mean, you know, none of us are spring chickens anymore, honey. It can't go on forever, Matthew. Do you want to work that hard?
Well, I kind of promised both of them that I wouldn't be working down there near as long as they did. And when Dad passed away, me and Mom was going to do it for a few more months, and that turned into about 10 years. And then Mom passed away, and we was going to do that a few more months, and it's been over 10 years now already, you know, so it's just one of them deals. I'm sure both of them would say, well, what in the hell are you still doing here? The end's got to come sooner or later to everything. So it's getting more certain as day goes by.